Okay. Howdy, everybody. Corstian is waving at you, fresh off of class. He got here in the span of like 15 minutes. This guy was like getting ready
Mhm.
like nobody's business. That guy's a warrior, man. So just wanted to say that. How are you doing, Corstian?
Doing all right. Like you said, I just got back from class, uh, and now recording. So fun, fun, fun.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of the fun stuff we've been seeing the past few weeks. Um, who would have thought? First up, Sam Darnold.
hmm
It looks like he's our league MVP right now. It's
hmm
insane what he's doing on the football field.
hmm
Corsian, what is happening?
hmm
What just happened? His career arc is just completely flipped.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing is just like league experience at this stage, where he's been on a couple teams, and then outside of, I mean, like it's really just his third team, but I mean, he was on the 49ers, just a really well ran franchise. So I think he had a great opportunity to learn there, and then. At the start of the season, I was saying that the Vikings, I think their specialty is just like knowing how to get the ball to their playmakers. And so obviously he's playing good football. There's no doubt about that. But just the way the coaching is done on that offense, they're getting it to Aaron Jones, they're getting it to Justin Jefferson, which opens up the playbook for other players to have their days as well and have their moments. But that was kind of what I was thinking, and that's why I drafted Justin Jefferson, because I knew the Vikings get the ball to their guys, and so he's just been good at getting the balls to the right guy, and that's I think what has led to his success and just the overall team success. Plus, defense is balling out.
Yeah, for me, like within Darnold's control, he's done a good job of just like managing the game and delivering like the one or two spectacular throws that he had, but then like the surrounding cast matters a lot. So I'm glad you put that up. I think he's in one of those systems where whether it was San Francisco or Minnesota, lesser talented QBs will thrive better than in other situations
Mm-hmm.
because of like the coaching, the schemes like they allow for the quarterbacks to develop. And I think combined with this experience, he's put in spots where he can't fail or where disguised defenses don't really phase him as much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember when he was on the Jets, like he struggled significantly because the coaching staff around him was not ideal. The players around him were not ideal. Um, so whenever he would go against the Patriots, they could do whatever they want without getting fear. Because they didn't have to deal with the Justin Jefferson. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to deal with an Aaron Jones. And even some of the role players like Jalen Naylor, I'm a huge fan of his game. Love the way he plays. Johnny Mutt as well. And then you talk about the guy out of USC, Addison. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
still on that team. He's like balling out. Um, can you imagine what happened if like KJ Osborne stayed on that team?
Uh-huh.
Like the Vikings are just flat out loaded, and Hawkinson's not even back yet. So
Yeah.
I think Aaron Jones had like almost 150 all-purpose yards last week.
Mm-hmm.
So having that and having Jefferson be Jefferson is always going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
As long as Justin Jefferson's on the field,
Mm-hmm.
I feel confident in Sam Darnold. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel as confident if he's not on the field. Shocker alert. When Justin Jefferson's not on your team is worse than when he
Mm-hmm.
is. But I think for a guy like Sam Darnold, it helps to have a guy that brings so much gravity with him, so it
Mm-hmm.
gives you clear passing lanes to the other guys. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
also very it's it's a very complementary system to its players that allowed them to be stars, and then the role players allowed them to excel in their own way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I mean we'll stick on the same drumbeat, but with a backup QB for the Packers, Malik Willis. Literally, this guy was traded for a sixth round pick or seventh round pick. I don't know what it was. Um, ends up facing the team he was previously on with the Tennessee Titans. And what does he do? He passes for 202 yards. He runs for 73. He scores two touchdowns. He nearly accounts for the Packers' entire first quarter offense. Um, and the other score was by Jair Alexander. So Malik Willis was pretty much like the offense in the first quarter. It does help to have a great defense that the Packers have
Mm-hmm.
had. But how are the Packers doing this? We went from like their season is done from when like Jordan Love was out of the last 5 seconds of the Eagles game to them being what 2-1 right now with Malik Willis. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I think a big part of it has been just that it's a great coaching staff. I think this season we're seeing that more so than even last year with how well Jordan Love played. Where I think similarly to the 49ers, this just may become a really QB friendly system that I think a lot of quarterbacks might just be able to, hop in and ball out. Maybe not to the extent that the 49ers do, but yeah, so there's that. And then I think they're not asking Malik Willis to do anything more than like what he's actually capable of, where, they heavily do lean on the run. I mean, last week, he was great with, again, like you said, the 200 pass yards, but again, they rely heavily on the run game. His first game as the starter, I think he had like 4, maybe 5 pass attempts by halftime, and the rest was running, and they were still just eating away at the defense just because they have the strongest established group of runners plus Malik Willis's running ability, which I think was somewhat highlighted in Tennessee, but they eased him into the passing, and then they're not asking too much out of that passing either.
Yeah, and with the Titans, this is like the second QB prospect they screwed up now, other than Marcus Mariota, and it's just sad to see. Like, yes, the Packers are putting a lot of like designed runs, play action, screens, like misdirection plays that are designed to get one read open, and that one read's been coming open. But Malik Willis has also been really, really good at like different parts of quarterbacking, like decision making. He has acumen there. He knows how to manipulate defenders. He is very accurate. He's improved on that since his rookie year. And I look at this and like he's at the first tier where it's like he knows how to play quarterback, but he's not gonna suddenly like manipulate leverage from like defenders left and right to like hit comeback routes and stuff. Like they're not asking him to do all of that. They're just asking him to hit the open guys when they try to scheme him open and leave from there. And I think it's one of those cases where 3 games from now, once he goes up against a great defense, he'll really struggle. But like right now, it's going good because the Titans' defense is terrible. The Colts' pass defense was terrible, and interior run defense. There's a lot of opportunities. Like heck, I think Josh Jacobs got like 35 carries last week, and he went off to last week again. So it's just the things they're doing with Willis are they're not asking him to do too much, like you said, but the ways that he's also improved has helped this team greatly.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We'll talk about the rookie QBs. What have you thought of Knicks after 3 weeks of watching them?
I think we've seen a lot of improvement going in each week. I mean, like week 1, I think he barely eclipsed 100 passing yards. It wasn't anything special. I think there's a lot of panic within the Broncos fandom, which I think was kind of stupid. I mean, it's a rookie, like, again, we've been spoiled by really like early breakout stars. I think the past couple seasons. Well, I do think there's still a breakout star with Jaden Daniels this year as a rookie, but like more often than not, rookies do struggle. But then each week, I think we've seen him get better. Like this last game, he threw 0 interceptions. I think it was really great. He managed the game well. He had great gains using his rushing ability, which I think was slept on a little bit. Because I think coming out of high school, he was considered like the top dual threat quarterback in the nation. And so kind of seeing him use more of his mobility was pretty exciting to see. But, I think a big part of the success that we also saw from Bo Nix this last week was Tyler Bidet had about 70 rushing yards on like 9 or 10 attempts, I think, which
is it really Bidet or Beatty?
The sportscast was calling it like Bidet.
Okay.
Kind of sounds like bidet, like the toilet or whatever, but
yeah, that's my first thought, of course.
Yeah, because I've been calling him Batty. He kind of be a baddie, I guess, but bidet's cool too. And so I think just the run game there really opened things up. It kind of stinks that Javonte Williams has struggled at breaking tackles this season and just kind of, creating room and whatnot. But he's still a good pass blocker, which I think is what keeps him in the rotation quite a bit. But I wouldn't be surprised to see more of the other running backs on the roster kind of getting more touches and kind of hopefully helping out balance out the just the offense in general, because I think that's what we saw happen this last week.
The one positive for them as well, like as a compliment, is Quinn Miners. He had a great game last week. I think on like 44 pass blocking stats, he allowed only one hurry. One hurry. That's pretty good. And like he's posted like a win rate about like I think it was like 30% of the run blocking snaps or something like that. So he's been doing his part. And if you have that for rookie QB, that's huge. You know how I love Marvin Mims from last year. I think if you always have like a surrounding cast like him, that's really good. Been waiting to see Adam Troutman. I think he's still on the Broncos, so would love to see him involved as well. Always been a favorite of mine. You hope Javonte gets better, but I'm in agreement with you. There's going to be some growing pains, but to see the 47 rushing yards on top of like 0 turnovers, that's 0 turnovers is honestly the best stat you can have. And for them to like handily beat, who did they play?
Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers, like who I was touting as the division winner last week, was just that was a very convincing win. So this is kind of like the potential they have this season. Now it's just like, can they hit that consistency?
Yeah. And, it is also like kind of every given Sunday. It could just have been, a bad Buccaneers week, a good Broncos week. But at the end of the day, we did see at least some of what Bo Nix could potentially be. And so I think that is very reassuring for me as a Broncos fan. And just I think the Broncos front office as well, seeing that Bo Nix can play quality football. He can, protect the ball and whatnot. And I think moving forward, you're in a lot less of a panic than I think after weeks 1 and 2, when we saw the lack of yardage week 1 with the interceptions, and then week 2 we saw the boost in yardage, but still continue to see those interceptions and kind of poor pass attempts. But yeah.
I mean, for me, it's almost like a similar story with Caleb Williams. Honestly, I'm really impressed with him after watching the Colts game. Yes, he had bad turnovers. He didn't have a mistake that Anthony Richardson did, though. And I love Anthony Richardson as well. Anthony Richardson threw it right to Tremaine Edmonds, like on a goal-to-go situation. I don't know how you do that. I mean, like it was maybe he's put in a bad spot where he's put like done play action, but I was like, Anthony, I've been touting you so much, and then you just go ahead and do this. I know you're more talented than that. But back to Caleb Williams, like he looked a lot more confident than what I've seen him in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And this was despite the pressures he was given. Like Roma Dunze had a night. Welcome to the NFL. Like Caleb put a lot of great stuff on film, having his first 2 touchdown passes. I think the one interception, I think he was trying to throw it away, but didn't get enough power on it. So it looked like a really, really bad pick. Because he's trying to avoid the sack. That I didn't like. But then the other one was just like a very like good defensive play to get for Jalen Jones to get a second interception. It was like a tip ball that landed right in his hands. And that's nothing you can do about that. I love the aggressive touches on the deep ball. I'm actually optimistic. What I'm not optimistic about was some of the questionable play calling. There's like an infamous meme where like the Bears ran a 4th and goal play, and it was like a speed option out.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't even get like they had to like Caleb had to throw the option within like a second because there were like 2 offensive linemen on the ground. One had no idea what was going on, and before you knew it, there's like 5 Colts defenders within like Caleb and DeAndre Swift's vision, and they instantly snuffed it out. And that was like a killer play. The offensive line has been a struggle. I've been worried about this. It's been the one worry of mine, and it's been a really big one so far with this team. And I've always had my qualms with DeAndre Swift. Honestly, looking at this, I think Roshan needs to be the starter, either him or Herbert, because they are great interior runners. I'm not saying don't suddenly throw like DeAndre Swift to the wayside. He's a great pass catching option, but you're gonna have to figure out how to use him in ways that are not like predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now he's not getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is like I don't like how they're calling shotgun runs all the time because
Yeah.
it's kind of telegraphing where the run is gonna go. The reason you go single back is because you don't know if the run is going to the left or right. With
Mm-hmm.
shotgun, you can kind of get an idea because it's very hard to pull a guard and run counter
Mm-hmm.
after shotgun. It's a lot easier to do that from single back.
Mm-hmm.
So all other runs are extremely direct to read from shotgun. And because of the Bears' stubbornness on trying to run that, suddenly their run game is really bad. Where
Mm-hmm.
with Getsy, it was complete opposite. The run game was really good, but the passing game was not developed.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see what happens from there. But I think Caleb has done his part. He's done all he's
Mm-hmm.
could.
Yeah. Yeah. We've definitely seen improvement, especially just like, I mean, obviously he had a lot of pass attempts, but he got the yardage with it too, which I think was the important thing when you're making that many attempts. But yeah, I think like I remember at the start of the season, I was saying that Eberflus, he was pretty much safe as long as you saw improvement from Caleb Williams. But after that last game with some of that play calling, I'm like, I don't know, man. Caleb Williams could potentially win. Not saying he will, but like even if he did win Offensive Rookie of the Year, there'd still be a chance I think Eberflus could get fired if the play calling and just kind of like the rest of the offense kind of looks the way it does. Um, and it's kind of like with the Broncos, where like the rush attack was feeling pretty weak until Bidet was balling out for whatever reason. And that kind of really hinders that quarterback playing ability. And so, I think both teams. I mean, I think Roshan Johnson did get a lot more touches this last week as well, and we kind of saw some of the benefits of that. But I wouldn't be surprised if both the Broncos and the Bears, unless one of their guys on the roster just happens to break out midseason, I wouldn't be surprised if they go heavy to either acquire a running back over the course of the offseason, or if they use high draft capital to get one of the elite rushers. Because I know next draft class is supposed to have quite a lot of good running backs, and so investing a good draft pick.
Bears got their hands on G&T, I'd be so happy.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
love
right.
that guy at Boise State. He's absolutely phenomenal to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only guy we didn't talk about is the guy we need to talk about, Jaden Daniels. What a performance, dude. What a performance against the Bengals. He was like, he was looking like Joe Burrow out there with the way he was just dicing them up. I also want to be cautiously optimistic about this because he's not been asked to do much. He's not been asked to throw to his left that much at all either. If defense will start to pick up on that and force him to do it, I worry about him in that sense.
Yeah.
He's doing really, really good when the reads are right there. But I would caution people to wait until week 8 or 9 and see now that defense has got the playbook on him, how is he going to do? Because outside of Terry McLaurin, there's not much on that team. They have Zach Ertz. They have Robinson, but Austin Eckler went out of a concussion. It's very, very slim pickings right now with that team. So it's looking good right now, and it might look good for the next 3 or 4 weeks. But I'm just wait till week 8. I want to see how he reacts to that. I'm not saying he can't recover from it, but I don't know how I feel because he looks amazing right now, but I don't know if it's going to continue that way.
Yeah, I think I'm still pretty excited for him, and I think despite the worries about his where he's passing the ball, a big part of his game also is rushing, like a lot of these other rookie quarterbacks that we've been seeing right now, and I think that also helps open up just some of those passing lanes for him, but I'm still mind boggled over how accurate he was against the Bengals. Literally 2 incompletions. That was crazy. I was like,
I think his completion percentage was 91% or 92%. Insane.
Yeah. I remember I'm playing I'll play Madden sometimes, and I'll be seeing the CPU quarterback has like only missed 2 throws. I'm like, that's so unrealistic. Like that never happens. And then here I am watching Jaden Daniels literally put that stat up as a rookie in his 3rd game, and I'm like, I guess it's not that unrealistic anymore. But
no, the bomb. I'm like 3rd down. Like I think they're up by they're up by a few on the Bengals, and they it was like 31-26, I think. And he
yeah,
just uncorks a 3rd and short bomb to Terry McLaurin for the touchdown. And he had
yeah,
another 50-yarder to Terry McLaurin. Just the accuracy and the touch on that was really, really impressive.
yeah,
Like that is like if he's reading that well, I like his prospects. But the left side of the field thing he's got to do. He's got to like you can't go 3 full NFL games without throwing a single pass. I mean, I don't think he did it against the Bengals without throwing a single pass to the left. Like you got to eventually be able to do that. I think people will pick up on it. But yeah, his rushing looked amazing. Like outrunning, he knows when to rush, which is really, really, really important. Not necessarily them being a rushing quarterback, because sometimes you could be Kyler Murray and just rush out of the pocket when you absolutely didn't need to, and suddenly you cut the field in half. Jaden Daniels is not doing that as much, but he's cutting the field in half by not passing to the left. So the reason why I'm harping on it so much is it's going to affect spacing if not. So with him especially, I'm very curious to see how Washington counters that when it's going to happen. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see that. So yeah, why we get Corstian back on? I I think the only other things to keep in mind with Jaden Daniels here too is um, you can't like I would still start him. I would just be prepared to have a reliable backup on the field. There he is. Of course, on your back.
If someone tried calling me and then it muted or it blocked my side of things, so I'm back.
Oh, well, you got your back now. Okay, alrighty. So I was just telling people I would still start Jaden if you have him in fantasy and he's been your starting quarterback. But I would just be prepared to have a backup. Like if Sam Darnold's still sitting on your waiver wire for whatever reason, grab him. Grab a Derek Carr. Like grab those guys. Like and have them as
that like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Guys, like if for whatever reason, if Sam Darnold's still on your waiver wires, make sure you grab him. Like
Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, they're all viable fantasy options this year because of like what their offenses have been doing. It's absolutely unreal. Okay, all right. So that was the highs that we ended off with the rookies. Now we got to go to one low. What the heck's going on with the Jaguars score?
It's crazy. Like I don't know what's like nothing seems to be working with that offense. And it's really concerning. I'm sure you saw this statistic that was being posted like the past like day or two, where it was saying that Trevor Lawrence's career like passer rating is now lower than Daniel Jones's career passer rating. And I'm like, no way, especially because like we've seen Trevor Lawrence go on insane runs. Like like the start of last season when they were 8-3, and then the end of the year prior where they were on fire. We were thinking the Jaguars might be one of the best teams, the best upcoming teams in the league. To now we're like you paid Trevor Lawrence, but like, can you and it's like a new contract too, but like, do you really want to pay this if you're the Jaguars?
I don't think it's a Trevor Lawrence problem though. I think it's just a whole offensive system. Like I think this is a Plus Taylor problem, and I am so stubborn to just blame whoever it is. Like in charge. Like I don't want to blame Doug because I don't think it's Doug's fault at all. I think the way they're organized is bad. It seemed like they were unprepared going into Buffalo to take on the Bills because their defense surrendered like 4 or 5 touchdowns to Josh Allen. Like by the time like the score ended, I think he hit his like over under on passing yards in the half. It was ridiculous. Like he was hitting everybody. He was hitting Shakir, Kincaid, Cook, Keon Coleman. Like it didn't matter. Like he was still finding guys, and like the defense is not organized. The offense is not organized. Brendan Strange would drop a third down pass. Then you got like Travis Etienne cannot get the run going. Then you got Gabe Davis, clap attack hands. Like Brian Thomas, not doing like rookie stuff. It was just bad all around, and then like pressure, like offensive line couldn't handle it, and then like Trevor would make a bad read, one bad read, but at that moment it was like the wrong time to do it. So it's just they're just a mess right now, and they just need to start over. They need to start over and just say, hey, we're trying to do too much. We're trying to play catch up when we try to do too much, and it's not working.
Yeah, I do think that a complete coaching overhaul, even with Peterson, needs to be done. Like I think he could find success somewhere else, but I just think a whole like culture change kind of needs to happen. Almost hit the reset button, keep your key players, which I do think does include Trevor Lawrence for now. But I could foresee Trevor Lawrence being one of those guys that like pans out with a different team, unfortunately. Not, I mean, in the sense that it would have been nice if the Jaguars saw the success with Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, like it's because it's like, what do you bring in? Especially because like obviously the system sucks. Changes need to be made just with like how the offense is being called. I think another big time playmaker needs to be brought in. I mean, like hopefully Brian Thomas can develop into that. I think we've seen like some glimpses of that in the couple of games that we've seen of him, obviously. But it's like it's a lot of underrated big play kind of guys. I mean, with like Gabe Davis, he's kind of like a one trick guy, and then Christian Kirk, he is a good player, but and I think he's a valid wide receiver one for the team, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it's that he can't just take away the game, and so I think you better hope that Brian Thomas can be that guy so that you have that 1-2 punch with Christian Kirk. But then, yeah, it's like you can't get the ball going to Travis Etienne, and we've seen how well he can ball out. And so it's like
it just feels from like a philosophy like they don't have one when it comes down to it. Like I think the talent, what boggles my mind is the talent's fine. It's fine, but they're playing below like their talent level. That's what's troublesome, and that's what has me thinking they need a coordinator change. They need to find somebody else. They need to bring something in there. If they fired Brian Dable in New York because of like the Giants' struggles, I know he would be a good fit in Jacksonville. I know this, and I thought Doug would be a good fit in Jacksonville too. So it's just a weird vibe to say that, but yeah, I almost feel like they need a different because imagine Brian Dable with like Trevor Lawrence instead of Daniel Jones, and I know it's weird to say that because Trevor Lawrence has the worst passer rating, but I just think he would do a lot better. Like it's time to change things, and I mean. It sounds like an overreaction after 3 weeks, but it's they just look unprepared and like they're not ready to like for the next play or like how to play off each other, how to stack good plays on top of each other.
Yeah, and I think just in general, some of the contracts that we've been seeing with quarterbacks, I think there's a potential chance that we see it dial down a little bit because I'm not putting all the blame on Trevor Lawrence, but like when you pay him that kind of money, you're expecting a guy like Trevor Lawrence to kind of mitigate some of the weaknesses in the play calling and then like mitigate some of the weaknesses with just the player personnel. But like we're not seeing that, and like he's just like when you're paying the big bucks for these guys, you're expecting them to be able to take the game away, and like I mean, that's kind of why the Broncos paid so much to not even have Russell Wilson on the team. It's like when you're paying all that money and the guy can't overcome, I guess, like the issues with play calling and personnel, like what are you even paying the guy for other than like you're scared that you may not have a quarterback, but like the Jaguars it's Daniel Jones basically as their quarterback. Like, you know? And like
that feels so difficult to hear because they're not the same player. Like Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence, like I've seen both play, and I would pick one over the other definitively, and it's Trevor Lawrence. But it's just like you look at the effectiveness, like stats of both of them, and it's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, and it's like think about how much more you're paying Trevor Lawrence than you are Daniel Jones. Like we're calling the Daniel Jones contract an absolute mistake, an absolute joke. But you look at Trevor Lawrence's contract, and he has a worse passer rating than Daniel Jones of all people. Like, like what is happening?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think they need to. If I was their offensive coordinator, I would turn it back to the basics. Understand what we do well, and figure out how many different formations can we get to that. How many different motions can we do to get to that? Add stack formation plays to free guys up. Make the reads as clear as possible, and then try to run their offense.
Yeah.
Get some rhythm. They need to get some rhythm going. They're not able to establish a rhythm. Like that.
Yeah.
That is a problem. That is a problem because your first 15 plays are supposed to be like your best scripted plays, and then like the second, third quarter is kind of like you just like reacting to how the defense is playing and what counters you have. But they need to do everything they can to make the reads clear as possible, and then let Trevor show his arm talent that he is. I don't want to keep dwelling on this. We have one more topic to get through and not enough time.
Yeah, I have one last quick thing.
Go ahead.
And something that I'm kind of worried about with the Jaguars is that like the coaching staff in like an attempt to kind of save their jobs or like preserve their future as coaching somewhere, that they make a move where they bench Trevor Lawrence for Mac Jones. Which I think
I don't want to see what the result of that is. It's going to be worse.
A huge mistake. And if I think that happens, there's a decent chance, like even with Mac Jones like potentially just being even worse than Trevor Lawrence, that I think that increases the likelihood of Trevor Lawrence being on the move in the offseason, which I mean could be a positive for him, but like when you pay that much money and you're willing to bench him, I feel like it's just like a huge confidence destroyer, especially because like he's probably kind of down on himself, especially just with like social media probably clowning on him with the whole Daniel Jones stat. Plus just, the team not winning games. And so I think that'd be a huge
There's an article of him saying like football like isn't as like he's not like super motivated by football or something along those lines. And it's just like I didn't believe it because it was like why would a professional athlete say that? He clearly dedicated so much time to get to that spot, but it's just though they're true, it's just that's another problem we got to deal with.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the Trevor Lawrence buzz cut new character arc coming in for him or something. I don't know. I
can't imagine that, dude.
Like it's like kind of like low key like what the Justin Herbert does, where he's like, oh, like time to like lock and reset for the season. He gets a new haircut or something. Like
you mean Joe Burrow with the
or Joe Burrow this year with the but yeah,
the bleach. Alrighty. One rookie wide receiver absolutely made Daniel Jones' passer rating better than Trevor Lawrence's last weekend. Malik Nabers. Unbelievable. I think the Giants just found their next Odell Beckham in the prime. I really do. This guy is like he's winning routes, he's mossing people. He's coming in confident. And he looks like he's the best wide receiver in this draft class, not Marvin Harrison. Yeah. And going into the draft, we kind of both agreed like there's like a clear top 3 tier of wide
Mhm.
receivers, and that's Harrison, Odunze, and Nabers. And Nabers was kind of like a player not many people wanted in mocks.
Mhm.
Like he was always like the third guy drafted. Well, looks like he took that personally too because he is just like carving people up,
Mhm.
absolutely unguardable. Yeah, I Cleveland didn't know what to do with him.
Mhm. Yeah. Neighbors is so good. It's crazy. I'm like, he's like, we knew he would be good, was kind of like the sentiment, you know? But like, just to ball out the way he's doing, I think especially just because it's with Daniel Jones and the Giants. Like, I think that's what adds to the shock factor of it all. But yeah, he's playing really good. Obviously it's week 3, early reactions, but I mean, like him and I think Jaden Daniels are like the two clear front runners for offensive rookie of the year so far.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't seen much from a lot of the other offensive rookies. Like maybe a strong from here on out, Brock Bowers could be in that conversation. He hasn't, he's played really well, I think, in all his games so far. But like Neighbors has been lights out. I think Jaden Daniels has been pretty lights out with just how everything has looked with a lot of these offensive rookies. Especially when what's crazy too is like the first 15 picks of the draft were offensive players, and like out the gate we have just these two guys. I think is I mean obviously offensive linemen are taking that mix, and it's hard to quantify their results compared to a wide receiver
Right.
and a quarterback, but
Right.
and it's still crazy just like how well these two are doing. And so I wouldn't be surprised if one of those two guys, Jaden Daniels or Malik Nabers, wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. But again, we have a long season ahead of us. For all we know, starting like week 6 or something, Marvin Harrison Jr. just puts up 150 yards a game with like 2 touchdowns or something average, and we're all just blown away. I don't know. But so far, they're insane.
I think just the technical aspects of the game, like he just knows that like in one-on-one scenarios, he always wins. He always knows how to track the ball no matter where he is. Like whether his back is to the quarterback, whether it's like facing the quarterback, when he's trying to shield defenders off, um, when he's trying to position himself to tack the ball, like he just understands it. Like with Harrison, like I think Neighbors has run 5 routes that Harrison has not yet, and Harrison has maybe run like 2 or 3 that Neighbors hasn't run. Um, but with Harrison, like he's not tracking the ball like that. He's only tracking the ball well when it's like when his back is to the quarterback and he has to like come back to it. Um, Other than that, not really. Like so, the fact that Neighbors is doing this is special talent.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see how all these rookies pan out. I mean, like, there's been some struggles. It's been a weird season. I feel like, I mean, last season was every season's a little bit weird, but I feel like I probably always say this season's really weird, but um, I mean, like considering the struggles of the Ravens, the Bengals kind of slow start, how bad the Jags are playing right now.
I did not see the Bengals being 0-3 this year. So
The
far.
Vikings with Sam Darnold balling out.
I didn't see
Derek
that
Carr,
coming.
Baker Mayfield, like resurgence eras. What else has been weird? 49ers technically struggling at 1-2.
Yep.
Seahawks leading their division, right at 3-0. Malik Willis playing as well as he's doing. What else? Like, just a lot of weirdness. Travis Kelce kind of playing down.
Kelsey's
Mark
nowhere to
Andrews
be
not
found.
playing well at all.
Yeah.
Most tight ends in general just not playing good.
And the Chiefs are still 3-0, despite all of that.
I mean, Rashee Rice is insane. Like,
Yeah.
everyone slept on him over the offseason. Literally,
I don't
like,
think it was
I think
because of
Chiefs
him.
fans
I
didn't
think it was
even
because
realize
of the
how good he
legal
was going
stuff. Like they didn't know what the legal stuff would turn out to be.
to. Yeah. It's been a weird season. But makes it kind of fun because every Sunday I'm like, what is happening? Like a lot of fun storylines, which makes it cool. But
Carolina with Andy Dalton, all of a sudden their offense just comes alive. So yeah, a lot to look forward to. We'll know more about the season the next coming weeks. I think that's the lesson learned here. There's so much of wild stuff, unpredictable. Thank you guys for watching, though. We really appreciate all your support. Our Instagram page is amon.a.mission, right down below. Good job, Corstian.
Yeah.
And our Amon Mission YouTube channel is Amon Mission, 3 separate words this time, where you'll find our full-length episodes. Thank you so much. Enjoy your football tomorrow. Corstian, who you got as upset alert for this week?
Oh, I was right about my upset alert last week.
Nice.
Yeah, my internet, my laptop's down, so I don't know all the games.
Let me take a look. NFL.com's being slow with me real quick. So you got Dallas and the Giants Thursday night. You got New Orleans, Atlanta, the Bengals and the Panthers, Rams, Bears, Vikings, Packers, Jags, Texans, Pittsburgh, Indy, Denver, Jets. I think I know which one you might pick. Eagles, Tampa, Commanders, Cardinals. Then you got the Patriots and the 49ers. Chiefs, Chargers, Cleveland, and the Raiders. And then you got the Bills, the Ravens. Then you got Titans of Miami. And then you got Detroit and Seattle.
I think one could potentially be this Thursday night football game. Which is weird because I mean the Cowboys haven't really been the Cowboys for I don't know. Either that one or like it's weird to call this like a upset game when it's an 0-3 team versus like a 1-2 team or something. These being the Jaguars and the Texans, but I think with the technical struggles that the Texans have had, granted Jaguars suck, so like again it's this is an upset, but I don't know. I feel like those two games could potentially be an upset game, but it feels like a lot of good teams are sucking and some teams that we thought were going to suck are playing good. So it's kind of a weird, like I said, it's a weird season. But yeah, how about you?
For me, it's Indy over its Steelers. I think these are two evenly matched teams when I look at it, and I look at how Indy had lost their first 2 games, and like the Green Bay one, they were still right there. Like they were still right there, even though it looked bad. And like the Texans, they played like incredibly well against them. I think this will be a nick and tuck game, and I think Anthony Richardson will really test the secondary of the Steelers.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to watch this matchup.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Alrighty, guys. See you next week with our overreactions to Week 4.
Yeah. Peace
Adios.
out. Maybe it won't load this time because my... Oh, nope, it did. Woo!
You should never doubt yourself, man. See you guys.